Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Abhiram Dwivedi and today I am going to present on the topic Sociological Perspective. So welcome to all in SKU digital classes, and this class is more beneficial for graduation, BA, B.Ed, BLLB students and for MA students as well, those who have opted Indian sociology as the main paper. So coming to the point, the first thing which becomes more important for knowing the society. So in order to introduce sociology, what is the meaning of sociology and what is the benefit of knowing the social understanding? So there are many perspectives, many dimensions, or you can say that many methods to understand the society. So let's see what are the various sociological perspectives. Sociological perspectives to know the society, because society as an entity cannot be understood from one direction, from one dimension. When you want to understand the social reality, then you need to focus on that particular reality from various dimensions. So in sociology we use some dimensions. Let's see, specifically in the context of Indian society. So the first perspective, the first dimension is Indology. If you want to understand Indian society, so the one perspective which is very important, that is the Indology. Indology is what? From the point of view of Indian text. This class is specifically for English medium students. In the next lecture we will be delivering the content for the Hindi medium students as well. Okay, so Indology is the first perspective through which you can understand Indian society. And what is the meaning of Indology? That means from the point of view of Indian text, because sociology as the subject matter belongs to the European origin. So we have many thinkers, many theories which deal with society, but they have their structure of theory regarding the European or American context. So when we want to know Indian society, then we need to understand Indian society from the Indian structure. So how can you understand Indian social structure? So for that, for a student of sociology or for a student of social anthropology or the anthropology who want to study Indian society properly, who want to know Indian social structure and function in its own manner, then that researcher or that person needs to understand this perspective, that is the Indology. So Indology means what is written in our historical books or scriptural text, what is mentioned in Ramayana, Mahabharata or Vedas, Puranas. So we have our own text, because in ancient India, before the attack or before any kind of outsider impact, we had our own scriptures. So on the basis of those law books, on the basis of those books, we can understand the Indian social structure, Indian family system, Indian political system, Indian economic system. So this perspective helps to know the Indian point of view. And majorly G.S. Ghurye was the thinker, and Louis Dumont was another thinker who focused on this Indian textual view. Indological perspective is also known as Indian textual view, from the view of Indian text, right? Now, second is structural functional view. Structural functional view. So we have seen the first perspective to understand Indian society, that is the Indology. Second is structural functional view. Now here two terms are included. First is structure and second is function. Okay, structure means any kind of framework or the outline. So when we are talking about society, when we want to know the social reality and the people living in society, when we want to understand that, then we need to understand the structure of that particular society. Suppose you want to study the people living in any particular area like Chhatarpur. If you want to know the social structure of Chhatarpur, suppose, so first of all you will try to understand the structure. So in a structure, what will you include? Family, the first structure, that is the social structure, and then polity, political structure of this area, economy, economical structure of particular area, then educational structure, then religious structure. So in structure, first of all, a student needs to select the area, and then after a student should know the structure of that area accordingly: family, polity, economy, educational and religious structure. So after marking this, second is function, because this perspective says, a structural functional perspective, it says that in order to understand a society, you need to focus on a structure of that society, and then after you need to focus on function of that society, because structure and function, they are interlinked to each other. Okay, so when this interlinking is properly understood, then only you can understand the society, because structure alone cannot fulfill the function. So structure and function, they are interlinked. So if a structure is there, so obviously the function of it should be there. Function of that particular structure will be there. Suppose the function of family. The function of family is what? The function of family is to regulate the society, to bring the next generation and to upbring the next generation, to transit and transmit the culture of that particular society. That is the function of family. Polity, to regulate the political structure of society, so that proper authorities, they should be properly ruled, they should be properly governed, and then after they should take care of that particular area in the sense of looking after the people, like in democracy. But before democracy there was monarchy. So in monarchy the political structure was different. kings were there, and those kings, they had their children, and then after, so that kind of lineage. Then economic system of capitalism, socialism. So these economic system, they vary. Okay, so the function of society depends on their structure, and it is very important to know that structure and functions, they are not universal in nature, they may vary. The function of family in Indian family structure may be varied from American family structure or the Russian family structure. Okay, so this is the second perspective to understand society, a structural functional perspective. Now third, it is known as Marxist perspective. Marxist perspective. And what is it all about? Because in all over the world, this perspective has impacted in a various manner, in negative manner to bring revolutions, in some societies in positive manner, and in political discourse also it has impacted in various ways. So let's see, if a student wants to know any society from Marxist point of view, so the first task the Marxian perspective discusses about, that is the class struggle. So Marxist perspective always divides the class in two parts. First is the elite group, and second is, and this elite group can also be called as bourgeoisie group, and second is, that is proletariat. Proletariat group, which means not have, or the discriminated group, you can call it. Discriminated group, right? So two groups. Marxian perspective focuses on two groups, that is the elite group and the discriminatory group, or the, so in this manner, this perspective says the whole society is divided always into two classes. One is rich class, another is poor class. And in order to understand this society, a student needs to understand the conflict, the tension existing between these two classes, the tension between rich and poor. So this perspective says that if there is any kind of social problem existing in society, then you need to understand what kind of problem is it. Suppose unemployment, or drug addiction, or terrorism, Naxalism. So all these social problems, communalism, these social problems, they can be understood on the basis of Marxian perspective when two classes are properly marked, that these are the two classes, and they are dissatisfied, they want to protest. And in this manner, this perspective focuses on social protest. Social protest, right? So this social protest takes place when some people, some section of people, they are dissatisfied with another section, or who is in the power. So in this manner, in order to understand Marxian perspective, class struggle becomes important, but with this class struggle, another thing which becomes important, that is the historical materialism. Historical materialism. So economy is classified as base and culture, law, education, religion, and state is classified as superstructure. So Marxian perspective says that economy is the base, economic structure of any society decides the culture of that society, decides the law of that society, education of that society, religion, state, the nature of a state. So all these are decided by the economy. So that's why economy is the base, and all these institutions, they are the superstructure of any particular society, right? So in this manner, in short, briefly, I have discussed with you, and in the next lecture I will discuss in detail, and specifically for Hindi medium students, that these perspectives are very important. So concluding my lecture on this topic, we have discussed today, first is Indological perspective, second is structural functional perspective, third is Marxist perspective. Okay, some thinkers, important thinkers I have told you: G.S. Ghurye, Louis Dumo, structural functional, Durkheim, Talcott Parsons, majorly Marxist, Karl Marx, and Ralph Dahrendorf. So these majorly are European thinkers, some American thinkers, German, and belonging to other countries. G.S. Ghurye is the Indian thinker. So majorly we have seen that this sociology as a branch of study, in order to understand the social problems, in order to understand pattern maintenance, tension management, this subject matter has various branches, in which we have seen today the sociological perspectives. Thank you very much. Thank you all.